So this is the part of van life that a lot of people don't tell you about. Welcome to Van of Action, the van build series where we're taking our 2018 Dodge Promaster van and turning it into a van of action. We're sharing the good, the bad, and the ugly, and trying to save you some money and help you have a little bit of fun.
Van of Action.
It's dead, folks. And this has really been a disappointment to me. This is a Dometic CFX dual zone 95 liter cooler refrigerator freezer. This guy is worth about $2,100 Canadian. Now, when we were doing the van, because I did an awful lot of it on my own, I saved a lot of money, and we thought we'd put the money where we really wanted it to be, where it would be reliable and serviceable and what we wanted it to be. And that's the most expensive item in the van, that cooler. We bought it in 2021, it's now 2024, it's 3 years old, and it's toast. It's just dead, and that's frustrating. It's particularly challenging today because today we're loading the van because tomorrow we're going on a 2-month road trip. So, I mean, of course, the timing couldn't be better, could it? And right now we don't have a cooler. This is what we've done in place of the cooler. We're going old school. We're gonna have 2 coolers in there with some ice because we can't not go tomorrow morning. We have our reservations right across Canada, and that's gonna be a challenge. I spent about 2, maybe 3 hours today online, on the phone, talking to people. I finally got a hold of the Dometic customer service line, and they're a top of the line company. This is not in any way a reflection on negatively on Dometic. We'll see how it all washes out at the end. This is day 1, but I'm hoping that we're going to get it it's still under warranty. We should get a replacement. It sounds like the compressor's gone for some reason or other. The challenge for us is, though, we're going to be on the road, so we've got to try and arrange for the shipping of the unit to where we're going to be when it's ready to be shipped. So it's going to take a little coordination. Stick with me on this and we'll follow it along. But we are going on the road tomorrow and you're coming with us. So buckle up. And then you begin the jigsaw puzzle of putting everything in the van. First, you got to make sure you've got everything, and then you got to figure out some way to get it all in there in the order you want to get it out in. And in this particular case, it was going to be a little more complicated because we're going to be on the road so long that we're going to need more than one season's clothing. We're starting off, we're going to be using summer stuff, so bathing suits and sandals and beach stuff. And then because of elevation and because of the time of year, we're going to need possibly some down-filled coats, some toques and mitts, and winter stuff. And that kind of makes it a little more of a challenge. And I like to keep things in an order that I can get them out when I need them. It makes it, it drives my wife crazy, but I really take the time to do it and make sure I get it all in. And ultimately, you are successful, you do get it in, and it's done. Nothing better than closing those doors. And then we're heading north. We were driving from our home in southern Ontario north through Ontario into Manitoba. So the first day we went to Shoots Provincial Park, and the second day we ended up in Wawa. The first day the ice held up just fine, but by the end of day 2 we had to deal with it. Now, we were quickly reminded that ice blocks are much better than ice cubes. We had to find some blocks, and we found a block in Wawa, which was lucky, but then how the heck are we going to work with it? That was something new too, so I pulled out my trusty saw. It was in the van already. Check this out. Now, while I'm at this, I want to share with you this really cool saw I got for the van. I picked it up at an auction. $2. I don't know where you'd ever find it now, but keep your eyes open. I visit Max Soul here in Ontario, and it's little treasures come along from time to time. Check this out. Blade out. Crossbar out. Spreader simply removes. And then this is the magical part. Okay, check this out, get closer so you can see it.
This was I don't use this very much, so it was a little bit of finagling, but it's pretty cool when you see it.
Find it? Right there, hold it on handy.
Does it really? No. Could it? I don't know. Do you think it does? Oh, look at this. Really? I don't believe it. I don't believe it.
Important part. The little wire handle. Pretty sweet.
So we muddled through this over the next 2.5 weeks until we seemed to find a system that worked, and ice blocks when we could find them with heavy-duty Ziploc bags seemed to keep everything dry and manageable. We did suffer a couple of days through water, but it wasn't too bad at all. It was actually pretty simple, and it kept the food really well. The only thing we couldn't do was we couldn't keep ice cream or frozen foods, and we didn't have any ice cubes for our adult beverages when we wanted them. But overall, it wasn't an unpleasant situation at all. It was on this day, when we were in Wawa, day 2 of our trip, that we received an email from the Dometic people, and they said to us that they were sorry we were experiencing the troubles we were having, and that we needed to do a substance test for them and submit the results of that experiment, I suppose, for them to make a judgment on what was going to happen. Now, a substance test is when you plug the cooler directly into the wall without an extension cord and record what the settings are for each zone, the ambient temperature. You put a glass of water in each zone, close the lid and let it run for 10 to 12 hours, and then you, after that period, you open the lid and you take readings of the ambient temperature, the substance temperature of the water, the temperature of the zone chamber itself, and send that all off to them. Now, we couldn't do that because we didn't have the cooler with us. And so we were at a dead end in that spot. And as soon as that happened, then we realized, well, we're going to have this ice issue for the whole of our trip. And, well, you know what? That's not that bad a deal. And we certainly understand the Dometic people wanting to go through the process of determining that the cooler's actually broken before they send you a new one. You know, if it was as easy as just phoning up and saying, hey, our cooler's not working, send us a brand new $2,000 cooler, and they would just do that, well, that would be a pretty dumb way to run a business. So we accepted the fact that for this trip, it's going to be ice, and when we get back, we'll deal with the cooler. So the rest of the trip wasn't that bad. It wasn't unpleasant at all. In fact, we reached a point where we were questioning our investment in the cooler, honestly, some days. But then other times when we wanted an ice cube or thought it'd be nice to have some ice cream, well, then we thought, no, it's the luxury of having that is something we'd like to maintain. So when we got back, we started the process again. And there's a lot of road between here and there. This is driving into the Grasslands National Park in Saskatchewan, Canada, and this is the Driving to the Sun Road in the Glacier National Park in Montana, USA. Both of these drives were spectacular, but this one, and I'll be doing a separate video just about this day, this is the kind of a day that we renovated our van for. This was an absolutely epic, once-in-a-lifetime drive. We were moving from west to east. We're going to do it again going from east to west. I'm sure it's a completely different view, but this is iconic. You won't find a better road than this one. This is just amazing. Not for the faint of heart, but my gosh, what an experience. When you get your van done, make it a point to plan on a trip to Montana. It's amazing. But we did work our way back across North America, and we did end up back at home, and we did do the substance test. I started the night before, got it all prepped with the water in each zone, got it all programmed, plugged it in directly to the wall, and let it sit overnight. And then... Good morning, cooler. It's now 12 hours later. Yeah, touch the button, right?
21 and 20.
So that's the interior temperature is 21 and 20 is by the system. And hit it again. Well, I'm sorry, set temperature. And it's set for 5 degrees in the cooler part and minus 12 in the freezer. Now we've got our thermometer. And we'll check here. Okay. It's plugged into the wall, has been plugged in all night. And when we open the lid, the light should come on. Ready? The light is on. Glass of water. Here, can you just hold it down here where I can see it, Captain? Mm-hmm. I don't know if it's possible to read it or not.
Well, this is the temperature, 22. This is set to go up to 100, so
No.
temperature is 22, 21.
This is the freezer side.
Yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm. And we'll lift the lid on the cooler side. And the light is on. Now, can you just grab a glass of ice? And we'll just shove it in there just to demonstrate the thermostat isn't set for 21 or anything. That is the results of the 12-hour substance test. There, see the water temperature just went up to 22.
Sorry, I couldn't figure out where the glasses were.
That's okay, we should have thought of that beforehand. We're doing this in real time, so there will be no... So hopefully it'll be clear, and we're not trying to take advantage of anyone, but we're really in the cooler. Okay, so now a glass of ice, we'll put that down in the cooler, or so I can see it anyway.
Sorry.
It's set down the bottom if you can. Okay, a glass of ice cubes. We're down.
Set it for 11.
We're down to -11.
Yeah.
8. So you can see the thermostat. The thermostat is working fine. Thermometer. It's working fine. It's really early in the morning. Hope this helps. So we did the substance test as requested. Sent the information off on a Friday. The following Tuesday, we got an email saying, "Okay, guys, your replacement cooler is on its way." And here we are, 7 days after we submitted the information, and Dometic sent us this cooler. And here we are. And this substance test, we've ran it for about 7 hours, 6 hours, 8 hours. Okay, so here we go. The dead one, the new one, substance test is going to be for about 8 hours. We are plugged in directly to the wall. We'll open up this side. The light should come on. This is the freezer side, and my gosh, look at that. There's ice. Fantastic. And well, we know there's ice. There's no. And on this side, this is the one here. On the cooler side, it's set for 8 degrees Celsius. And turn this way. There we are. 17. We just ran this test because we won't be using this cooler until next spring now. So I guess basically just to turn it on and make sure everything was running the way it's supposed to before we put it away for the winter. We leave it out of the van for the winter. There's no reason to have it freeze and thaw and freeze and thaw. We're at 9 degrees Celsius. 8 degrees Celsius. Boom. Exactly where it's supposed to be. Fantastic. Thank you, Dometic. And we're whole again, ready for the next road trip, which really pleases me. I love the lifestyle that having a freezer and a fridge gives you when you're on the road. It just opens up so many opportunities. It just makes it more fun. And it's nice to know you have a product like the Dometic cooler in the van that's reliable. Some people who stand behind their shit, they're very, very reliable. I'm not getting paid for this. I'm just sharing my lived experience, but I would recommend them. I honestly would. But the one point I want to make,
is this experience has helped us to understand that you can survive on the road with just a couple of coolers and dealing with ice every day. So if you're a person who's working on a budget, design for and build for a large cooler someday. Put the wires in there, get ready for it. But in the meantime, get a couple of coolers, a couple of blocks of ice, and get out on the road, because that's where the experience is. That's where the smiles are. Hope you found this useful. Give us a like, a share, and a subscribe, and watch these other videos. You be well.